in terms of 100% transition, we have assured our children that all of them, and I repeat, all of them, will have a place in the secondary school. The government, under the leadership of His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, has given us very firm instructions to ensure a fair, transparent, and very quick placing of these children. And by the 2nd of December, every child in this country should be able to know which school the child is going to.
All right, that's the Cabinet Secretary talking about the transition. And as he says, on 2nd of December, the Form 1 selection begins. There are different categories of schools that they will be joining. But before we dive into that, let's take a look at the age of the class of 2019 based on the statistics that we have. If we can begin with the first one, generally, the 14 years and above or and below, it was 45%. And then the candidates that are above 14 years are 55%. For those that are above 16 years nationally is 16%. So that is an important figure to note, that above 16% nationally is above 16 years is 16%. Then the youngest counties, these are the counties that had the youngest candidates. Those that are 14 years and below, Kiambu has 72%, Nyeri 66%, Nairobi 66%, Baringo 61%, while Murang'a is at 60%. Those are just the top 5 candidates of the youngest candidates. Then we go to the oldest candidates, the counties that recorded older candidates. No, this is not supposed to be Kiambu, it's supposed to be a different county. I'll figure out what that is. For Kwale County is 84%, Turkana County is 83%, Busia County 74%, Garissa County 78%, and Lamu is 74%. That shows that the candidates there, those percentages are older than 14 years. But there are those that are above 16 years that you would call the oldest counties. Turkana, 51% of candidates that sat this year's KCPE were older than 16 years. Garissa County, they were older. The ones that are older than 16 years are 43%. Kwale County, 43%. Kilifi, 42%. Busia, 30%. So you have some trend analysis there that the coast is recording quite a bit of aged candidates. Then the far-flung counties, Garissa, Turkana, are also indicating that. Then let's see the last one that we'll talk about. No, we don't. That's actually the last one. So just
Can I correct you?
Yes.
Coast is presenting older candidates, not aged candidates.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I just wanted to...
So the first county that has older candidates was supposed to be Kilifi County, not Kiambu County, posting 84%. And so as we look at the transition and the age of candidates, why would it be that certain counties have older candidates than the rest? And why would very young candidates be found in Kiambu, Murang'a, Nairobi, and the likes?
Okay, I think we need the ministry to actually give guidelines. When I joined Study 1, you know, there's a way we used to place our hand over the head and touch the ear. And if you couldn't touch the ear, you couldn't join school.
Which was that? Don't answer.
I can answer. But, you know, that was a way of trying to determine our age. Mm-hmm. I think now with the new curriculum, those are some of the things that we need to look at. Mm-hmm. And also for the older candidates, what has made them, did they join school when it was late? Mm-hmm. Or have they repeated, or have they faced challenges that have made them being in and out of school? And maybe even the CS, as he gives the results, he should stop calling them children, but just call them candidates. Because when you say children, now some people are over 19 years, then they are no longer children. So I think it's clear that the ministry needs to come up with a criteria by the time the children are, these young ones are joining class 1 or from the lowest level, from the foundation level. Mm-hmm. And as we go up then we can have a look at and ask ourselves, why are these children spending so much time in school? Is it repeating or what is it? Mm-hmm. You saw Murang'a topped with the transition to Form 1. Right. But I would tell you, I had a different experience. I've been a member of parliament for the last 6 years. Right. But last year, I saw the leadership coming together and working together to ensure that our children went to Form 1. Mm-hmm. Our governor actually called for the needy children and to give bursaries, which had not happened before. and there was this big event, and even bought them a few items to go to Form 1. Our members of parliament, and I want to thank our Murang'a people, because we have many women now as members of parliament. That really has also made them, you know, that motherly instincts, that were able to give more bursaries than before.
Right.
So this is collective effort, and of course then there was reporting from the chiefs. And the ones maybe who were to get married or who had not gone to secondary school for whatever reasons,
right,
we were able to go and reach them to their level, to the village level. So we have to have a law or maybe guidelines from the ministry on how we get these children to start school.
Okay.
But she raised an issue about the foundation, and that is where we are. We do not take care of our ECD. Well, it is a function that was devolved. The people who are crafting the constitution, I don't know at what level they separated the ECD from the primary and said this is national, this is county.
Right.
But I have a bill in parliament to make sure that the teachers, the ECD teachers, are employed by TSC. Because it is interesting that the same constitution gives TSC the mandate to employ the teachers who are registered under them. They are registered, but once they're registered, then you separate them and say these ones are TSC, we're going to employ them. Then these ones for ECD, they'll be employed by the counties. What has been happening? You find that some counties don't even care, so they have very few teachers in the ECDs.
Okay.
Very few institutions are actually tagged to a primary school. So you'll find an ECD class belongs to a church or something like that. You find the teachers who retired, or maybe even the teachers who are the Sunday school teachers, are the ones who are teaching the ECD.
Yes.
So we must take care of our foundation of our education. We must also take care of these ECD teachers, so that if a teacher in Murang'a is being paid 20 or 30,000, the same teacher is in Turkana is also paid the same amount, not 500 shillings.
Okay.
Some of them will stay even for 5 months or 6 without being paid. So let's take care of our foundation so that our children will not get lost at that level, at the introduction level. If they hate education at that level, will not make it. If they love education at that level, we will have. And who says primary school is free? And nursery schools are not free. How is that?
And I think there is a relationship between the kind of candidature we are seeing in terms of age with the foundational issues. Because the trend there is such that, you know, the urban counties are the ones that are leading in terms of young candidates. You will find that there were opportunities for school that were available even when the child was at 5 years. But in some places, you cannot release a 5-year-old child to travel all the way to access, you know, school. So they miss out on early learning opportunities or early exposure opportunities. They are exposed at 7, 8 years, so they perform so poorly. They're likely to repeat, you know, classes so often. They're likely to fall off out of lack of interest because the teacher is transacting in English and you don't know what is happening. So I think the foundational issues are really critical and need to form part of the discussion.
And if you look at... Are there questions that you're missing here? Because if you look keenly on those figures about the percentages and the age spread, it reflects so badly on the northern counties. And we know there has been challenges in those countries, especially with the teachers' numbers and the security situations. How do we therefore address the situations there so that the candidate or the child in those counties has the almost equal opportunity with that one in Murang'a or Nairobi? Okay,
first of all, let me say that our cultural practices has also contributed to this age differences. You'll find that in areas like Turkana, Northeastern, where they are pastoralists and people really value their animals, and children, as you grow up, you'll be looking after herding your cattle as opposed to going to school, because that is what they tie. That is how they determine riches or how they determine affluence in the society. So with the government, the effort that the government has put in the recent years, where the government is insisting that every child of school-going age must go to school, you find that a lot of mopping has been done, and these children, even if they're older, had to now go to primary school standard 1. But whereas before, they didn't value that education too much. They valued looking after their cows, and the children just had to go and look after their cattle. So then you find that these people did engage in schools a bit late, and that is what you're seeing showing there. But I think the government has really tried to equalize. Of course, it has not succeeded because there are people who started going to school late, but it has tried to equalize. And like Honorable Sabina was saying, I just don't know what the age gap is, but it's a government policy that you should not go into standard 1 if you are under 7 years. I'm not sure about the age, but I think there's a policy like that. That the
7 years? I'm not certain about that.
Because yes, it is. It is 7.
The numbers we have, there are even candidates who are younger than 12.
No. But that is, there are candidates who are younger, but the government policy is you should join Standard 1. Standard 1 should be like 7 years. Okay. I'm not so sure, but I think it's there. So that if you're 7, just to avoid children who are going to school when they're too young or children who are going to school when they're too old. But 7 is the accepted age for Standard 1s. Of course, you will have some going younger, but the accepted age, even if you take children for interviews, especially for children who are born in like June, July, where they will be like 6.5 or slightly less. Many times they will be sent back, and you find that they'll now do their exams at 6 months older than the average age.
I think the celebration really is in these children. No, they are not children. Honorable Sabina said that when you're 18, you're not a child. But it's in the ability of government to provide opportunities for all to learn. Because maybe you missed the opportunity for many reasons, including what Mweshimua is saying. So you missed the opportunity, but yes, when you come, you know, the opportunity is open to you, and you know, you're welcome. And I think what we're saying is that we want a system that is flexible. Okay. So you did not come at 7 years. So what else is available to you? Because I mean, we want every I don't want to say every child, because really there are those who are above 18, but we want everybody to get an opportunity. Every learner, maybe? Every learner to get an opportunity to go to school. And you know, there is no one shoe fit all, because you know, and I think when we were in Nairobi, for example, even parents would take their children even at 4 years. They don't mind, because sometimes maybe home issues, and then school is just here, so that you'd find very young children actually going to, which is not healthy. But then this brings me to the discussion. The other day I saw a child that was it 14 years being admitted for engineering? There was that. I exactly don't remember where, but that brings us to the issue of what informs us to say that this is the age for when you need to be doing all this. Because remember, when we were discussing about our college degrees, we had the regular candidates, I mean the regular students at the university, spending an entire 4 years. Then we had others who had not even performed as well as the Joint Admission Board, the self-sponsored, spending 2 years. So you're spending 4 years in school, another one is spending 2 years in school, and yet all of you get the same paper. So I think there are issues that really need to be very well informed by research. What is research telling us, and what is the world doing? How flexible can we be?
You are former chairperson of the Education Committee at the National Assembly, and the question of equality and inequalities in education has always been there. So what do we do to ensure that Garissa and Turkana are the same footing, just like Murang'a County and Kiambu?
You know, there are so many things. One, when we say there's 8 billion set aside, where is it going to be used at? And why are we still building schools where there are many schools and some areas have no schools at all? So there were guidelines on you cannot start a new institution or a new school unless it is approved by the Ministry of Education. I'm not so sure whether that is being followed or not. From the time I was the chair, we've always had a shortage between 100,000 to 80,000 number of teachers. Till now, you know, from 2016, the number has not changed. And you had the CEO, TSC, saying, we have employed 5,000, we have employed 10,000. How come these numbers don't reflect on the shortages? Is it that because we are now building more schools, or what is it about? Or are we having more students joining school, which I don't think that's the case. I think we need to start thinking differently. As it was mentioned earlier, Kenya, we are so focused on these boarding schools, you know. We have Alliance, which is a very top school, and every other parent or other student want to join Alliance. Should we just focus Alliance on it being just a boarding school, or can we open a wing for Alliance to also have a day school?
Which hasn't worked since announcement.
Well, but we have many schools. If a child is from Murang'a, and they would have loved to go to Murang'a High School, but they are told it is full, but they can be able to commute every day to the school and out. Why are we not trying to look at that opportunity then? So then we would really assist a lot of our students, and now look at the areas where we don't have schools. I think I've seen photos of some schools, mostly in the coast, where that's not really a class. I think also like Kipia. So what is the government doing? Let's just look at that latest school, the incidents of the school that collapsed. The government had committed, because that area, it was factual that the parents didn't even want that school to be closed because they didn't have any other option. And that's why a private person came in and tapped on the area. Should we have on how many is this per population or square kilometers, or how many schools should we have within a specific area? I think mapping out, and as Janet said, with proper research, we are going to assist our children, and the story is going to be different.
Right. And
Sam, I wish what the minister was telling us was that 8 billion had already been spent to improve the infrastructure in schools, and not tell us that 8 billion has been set aside. That children have to now go to school in January. You've set aside 8 billion now as if you did not know this was coming. Why do we always have to wait until it's late? We're not going to build these classrooms in 1 month or improve on this infrastructure in 1 month so that the students in January can get the benefit of the infrastructure. So this was already coming. Why wasn't this 8 billion that is now being set aside, why wasn't it used in the last year to prepare for the candidates? To lay preparations for the candidates who are now, whose results have now come out and will be going to school in January. We are always too late in doing things, and we are always in the planning stage and setting aside stage. When do we ever say, yes, we are prepared for this 1 million students, because 8 billion has already been spent to improve infrastructure, and this and this and this has been done in this and this and this place, Then we'd be talking, but
so even as you say about spending and infrastructure, I also don't know why the ministry failed to do like model classrooms, because you'll find one school will spend 10 million and it will build so many classrooms, where another will spend that 10 million on one.
All right.
So we should also have a model.
I want us to make progress so that we can look at some of the feedbacks that you've been sharing with us at Citizen TV Kenya, as well as via SMS line, which is 22422, if you can have them. Samuel India said that learning has liberated more people than all the wars in history. What mitigative measures has the government put in place to ensure the accommodation of learners transitioning to secondary schools? Talking about accommodation there. Then Dara Jacob, you said that schools should not be left to rob parents during admissions. The fee structure guidelines set by the government must strictly be adhered to. The government should protect the parents from schools with an imaginable appetite for money. I don't know what happens to the needs of schools in as far as that fees guidelines have not been reviewed over the years. Engineer Lazaro, you said that government should consider maintaining competition among the schools and to involve stakeholders in every sector they intend to change. That's the only way of salvaging our dwindling academic standards in the entire Africa. #DayBreak. Kineni wa Embo. I'm in support of funding our day secondary schools. Most students join day schools and we expect a lot of traffic in there. Our day schools need to be equipped with modern science labs and infrastructure. I did my KCSE there and it never deterred my success. Talking about day schools. Then Isaac Maweu. Whatever transactions and transitions that the government has put in place, let's remember this: grades are not proportional to greatness in the school of life. What a way to say. On SMS line, you say that this one takes a while. 22422. Dr. Odidi Owiti from Lodwar. In both practice and principle, private schools measure performance. On the other hand, all limitations and challenges notwithstanding, public schools succeed much in measuring learning. Okay. Take a cohort for the last 5 years and see the trend in Form 4 performance. And indeed, we'll be looking at the class of 2019 when they sit their KCSE in 4 years' time. Abel from Eldred. Same story, private schools did better. Boys did better than girls. The problem now is to ensure the transition of all students to Form 1. This secondary school should come to our rescue. All right. Then Roche John from Homa Bay. Could it be that the competent teachers retired and are currently hired in private schools? A student pointed out that performance brings success, but discipline keeps you successful. How is discipline in our public schools? I don't know the answer to that. I wish you had a teacher here. Precious Talents Top School, the one that collapsed and the learners were sitting their KCP at Ngong Forest, posted some impressive results. Grace Acheng scoring 408 marks, Nicole Sanguera scoring 405, and Martin Mwangi scoring 402. Then Arnold Klein scoring 398 marks, and number 5 with 397 was Hillary Clinton. Okay.
Can we?
He or she is running. Now we take a break now. When we come back, we talk about what has been happening in the political world, just for a few minutes, so that we do not let the political class here not to have a say on the public conversations. Back in a moment.